Okay, so something happened at Jesse Jackson's funeral that explains why Democrats are panicking right now. And it's not even what Obama said. It's what people noticed afterwards. Because once you line up what Democrats said and what Trump said, it looks like two completely different realities. So let's start here.
Keep going, Donald Trump. We appreciate you, and we're here for you. He came in on day one. He's standing on business. I love it, and he's doing an amazing job. Keep going, Donald Trump. We appreciate you, and we're here for you. He came in on day one. He's standing on business. I love it, and he's doing an amazing job.
Amen to that. I love clips like this because the media hates them. You ever notice that? They interview 200 angry people, but the moment someone says, "Hey, Trump is doing a good job, thank you," suddenly the camera battery dies. But listen to what she said. He came in day one. Came in on day one standing on business. That phrase alone explains half of American politics right now because voters are tired of, we're going to form a committee to explore the possibilities of maybe addressing a systematic issue. You know, all that type of mumbo jumbo. People want somebody who actually shows up and says, yeah, we're doing it right now. And the energy is spreading in places Democrats thought were permanently locked down, right? Which leads us to this.
There ain't no way, absolutely no way, that any sane-minded, common sense American cannot see the delusion that's happening right in front of us. I'm telling you, stuff done flipped upside down in people around here. This far left done lost their grip on reality, and they proving it every single day. They complain about everything. Everything the president do, y'all got something to say. Everything he do, everything. He closed the border. You complain about that. Why? He protects Americans. Y'all out here protesting about that. Why? He stands up to an Iranian regime that's been oppressing, okay? Torturing, murdering its own people. And y'all have no compassion. That's inhumane. Y'all still out here complaining. Then you held up the funding. You shut down the government. Y'all done throw a temper tantrum like little bitty children. Because what? He dared to defend this nation instead of bowing to y'all agendas. Thank you, God, for this president. And now y'all want to cry about money. Y'all crying about money being spent on this war or on a war? Where was this energy when Obama was sending millions of dollars overseas? Where was the outrage? Somebody tell me where was the outrage when the Biden administration, they sent billions of dollars pouring into the Ukraine. Y'all ain't said nothing. Where was the shutdowns then? I want somebody to tell me, where were the shutdowns then? Where was the moral lectures then? From the folk who's okay with hormone therapy and puberty blockers for children, minors. Where was the outrage about all this money that Biden sent, Obama spent? Y'all ain't say a word, not a word, quiet as a church mouse. Because as long as that money was flowing out of America and back into y'all pockets, y'all was fine.
Now, this is the conversation that Democrats absolutely cannot stand. Because she just pointed out something Democrats rely on heavily. Short memories. Politics depend on it. If voters remember what happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, suddenly the emotional speeches, they just don't hit the same. They just don't. And that's why this next clip is even more interesting, because when you start talking about money and results, things kind of get awkward real fast.
You know how much money black people receive under President Barack Obama's presidency? Do you know how much money that was carved out supposedly for black communities, and how much that's received? Less than 1%. Less than 1% out of $78 billion spent. Less than 1% went to black-owned businesses. Why? Because we spend way too much time worrying about if Donald Trump is racist or not, whether or not he was part of the redlining in the 70s, and whether or not he is against Black Lives Matter, and whether or not, don't give me no Black Lives Matter sticker. Give me access to capital.
Woo-hoo. You know, our conversations like that make politicians uncomfortable because numbers ruin vibes. You can run campaigns on hope. You can run campaigns on emotion. But when somebody pulls out that calculator, suddenly everybody wants to change the subject. And that brings us back to Jesse Jackson's funeral. Now, normally funerals follow a very simple rule. You ready? The funeral is about the person who died. Apparently, that memo didn't reach everyone, though. Y'all, watch this.
Short time ago, under a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. Has anyone heard of him? Has anyone heard of him? How about Barack Hussein Obama? He went to Jesse Jackson's funeral. He spoke, and it was like a political hit job. And the family of Jesse Jackson got angry as hell at him because they understand they hated each other. You know, he was there. But I loved watching that. That was so. The family goes outside and they start screaming at him. A short.
I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people.
Wow. Looking like Al Sharpton was real uncomfortable over there. It makes me curious, did Al Sharpton change his tune? Because, you know, he was talking about basically accountability in the black community. I'm wondering if he changed his tune at Jesse Jackson's funeral because of a conversation he may have had with his son prior. Now, here's the strange part. The funeral itself wasn't what people expected, because instead of it being entirely about Jesse Jackson, it turned into something else. It turned into strictly political commentary. Now, think about how weird that actually is. Imagine going to a wedding and the best man spends the entire speech complaining about his taxes. I'm saying, everybody gonna be in the room like, yo, sir, what are we doing here? Like, really? Here's where things get even more interesting, rather. Because months earlier, Trump had already said this about Jesse Jackson.
Of a person who I knew very well. Jesse was a piece of work, I want to tell you. He was a piece of work, but he was a good man. He was a real hero, and I just want to pay my highest respects to Reverend Jesse Jackson. He's a good man. He was actually, as you got to know him, he got better and better all the time. A lot of people, you get to know them, they get worse and worse. Jesse got better and better. But I knew him well long before becoming president, and he really was special with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. You would say Jesse had serious street smarts, right? A very important ingredient to life, I will tell you. He was gregarious and someone who truly loved people and a force of nature. He was somebody that we're going to greatly miss. And on behalf of everyone here today, I know you join me in sending our condolences to the entire family. Had a great family.
What was so hard about that? That was easy. You know what I didn't hear? I didn't hear the name Obama mentioned. I didn't hear the name Biden mentioned. Kamala. I didn't hear anything about politics. Just gave the man his flowers. Damn, that was easy. I wonder why the Dems couldn't do that at the going home ceremony. And Trump gave that speech prior to the memorial. So it's not like he was trying to show the Dems up. He just knew how to honor someone who was a friend and someone that he actually knew. I don't see what was so hard about giving someone their flowers. That's just crazy.
Now, that's actually a pretty fascinating moment politically. Think about it, because it completely messes up the narrative. You spent 10 years telling people Trump is the most evil man alive. Trump this, or his man bad. Yeah. And then he gives a calm tribute about Jesse Jackson. No insults, no attacks, just respect. Now suddenly, these Democrats' storyline gets very complicated. And complicated are stories that the modern politics hate. Which leads us to the final reaction, if you will.
What's up, guys? I don't know if y'all saw the video with President Trump talking about Jesse Jackson. You know, he gave the man his moment. He gave the man his flowers. Everything he talked about was only for Reverend Jesse Jackson. That's it. He talked about how great the man is. He talked about how people get worse as they get older. He said Jesse Jackson got better as he got older. He gave the man his respect. He gave the man his flowers, and he gave him his moment. He didn't mention nothing else but Reverend Jesse Jackson. But Obama and Kamala and Biden and Al Sharpton, y'all couldn't do that, right? Y'all got TDS that bad that y'all couldn't give the man that y'all claim y'all love and y'all like for just a few moments. Y'all couldn't even give him a moment. Y'all just took the whole subject off of him and everything was anti-Trump. Trump wasn't thinking about you when he talked about Jesse Jackson, but y'all was thinking about Trump instead of Jesse Jackson at his own funeral. Y'all got TDS really bad, and it's looking bad on you too.
Now, what you're watching right now is something Democrats just didn't expect. Now, Republicans supporting Trump, that part is pretty obvious. What they didn't expect was people outside the usual political boxes starting to ask these questions. And that's been a whole thing for the last couple of weeks, because once that starts happening, obviously their strategy, the entire strategy changes. Because the old model depended on that assumption that we talked about. Certain voters would never reconsider anything. But the moment people start comparing these clips, comparing these speeches and the results, that's when the political script starts crumbling. That's my only mission here. It's not to even sway. Of course, you know where I lean politically, but for the most part, I just want to present the information like, hey, look, from a common sense point of view. The script is glitching right now, really hard. The biggest political shift happening right now isn't left versus right? It's something else entirely. People are starting to watch things for themselves, not getting no media fillers, not getting the talking points handed to them. It's clips. And when people see things side by side, they start noticing contradictions. And once you start noticing those contradictions, politicians lose one thing they depend on most: control of the story. So we're going to use the word that we used before. If you simply don't want to write, you made it to the end of the video, it's okay to say you made it to the end of the video. That's cool. Put I subscribe to, or if you want to encourage people to, wonder why people in the comments going, why are they subscribing? We want to get their mind to go, oh, you know what, let me subscribe too, if they ain't watched to the end. Or you can write this word down: pattern. Yeah, write that word down if you made it to the end of the video. Not even for the algorithm no more, man. It's genuinely for your boy to be able to see. Y'all be safe. Go check out somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.